know time is the most valuable thing that we have? However, the average person spends 55.2 minutes a day searching for items we can't find. The cell phone, the remote control, the car keys. Well, today I want to talk to you about 10 benefits of getting organized, and I really believe it's going to help you declutter your way to success. I'm Terri Savelle, and you're watching Live Your Dreams. I pray that as you invest in yourself today, you're captivated and you're catapulted to live your dreams. I want to talk to you today about decluttering your way to success. You know, years ago, I heard someone make this statement, and it was so profound, it really makes you think. They said, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. In other words, do you wake up late and then you feel rushed and anxious? Do you show up late and then you have to apologize to everybody? Do you pay your bills late? Then you have to pay late fees? Do you file your taxes late and then you have to pay penalties? The way you do anything is the way you do everything. Well, years ago, when I was going through such a rough time in my life, I had no direction, no vision. My marriage was this close to a divorce. I was so desperate for change in my life, and I began practicing hearing God's voice. Just desperate for direction, wisdom, instruction, something. I needed something from the Lord to tell me what to do with my life. Well, God gave me a word, all right, but it was not the word I was expecting. He basically told me to clean up. I was like, come again? He told me to clean up and clean out. And honestly, I wasn't even sure if that was God or if it was just my own voice in my head. But I took it literally. In fact, I got a little notebook and I just started writing the vision to get clean, to declutter, and to organize just one room at a time. In fact, I started with the room I spent the most time in. But that's not all I did. I took my CD player, I took some faith-building teaching with me, and I pushed play. Well, what happened was, while I was cleaning on the outside, God was cleaning me on the inside. And I don't have time to go through all the details of it today, but after I finished that one room, I got it perfect, the way I would consider it perfect. Then I moved on to room number 2, and I stayed with it until every single space was in order. I mean everything. The clothes were folded, the old perfume jars were tossed that had like one little squirt left in them, shoes were straightened up, toilets were clean, sweaters were stacked, magazines were thrown in the trash. I mean, everything was in order, the way I would consider it to be excellent. Well, after every single room in my house was in order, all of a sudden, I had peace. My life was still a mess, but I had order in this one area of my life, and that gave me direction, it gave me vision, it gave me peace. I started to dream again. Well, here's the thing. I had no idea that that word from the Lord, clean up and clean out, was truly God preparing me for promotion. Do you know the Bible actually says that if you're faithful in the little things, you'll be ruler over many things? Well, that word from the Lord to get cleaned up was so profound, and I had no idea that 9 months later, God promoted me to be the CEO of an international organization overseeing 8 offices around the world. I was being promoted. I was being prepared for promotion. See, God was watching me. He was noticing that if I can't get my house in order, how could I get an organization in order? If I was a mess, my leadership would be a mess. See, I had to adapt a standard of excellence in my life before I could expect it from my team. So God was truly preparing me for this major promotion, but I had no idea. Well, it goes back to that statement I said right at the beginning, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. Well, that was the beginning of God setting me on a path of progression and promotion, and that was back in 2002. Well, over the next several years, after I got that first directive to get cleaned up, I saw God drastically promote my life and ministry to doing things I'd only dreamed of. I mean, literally, I went from ghostwriting books to authoring books. I went from attending conferences to speaking at conferences. I went from watching TV for hours after work to co-hosting a TV show. My marriage was restored, healed and restored. My finances increased. The ministry was launched. And things were growing tremendously every year. And then the word of the Lord came again. This was one morning in 2014. I'm sitting there with my journal and my pen, just listening for the Lord. All of a sudden, I heard 3 P's in my prayer time. This is what I felt come up in my spirit. Purge, prepare, perfect. Purge, prepare, perfect. And again, I wasn't real clear on what the Lord meant by that, but I took it literally. Now, although my home was not, in the poor condition it had been years prior, it had accumulated clutter. You know how just little by little junk had built up in closets and cabinets and, things that you just get adjusted to. Well, I did exactly what I did the first time. I started by making a list of each room, what needed to be done in each room to purge it, perfect it, and prepare it, to make it excellent. For example, just little things like, I had numerous coats hanging in the closet that I rarely ever wore. I had unused Christmas gifts piled in a guest room closet for years. I had beach towels from 1995 that were like shredding and painful to use. They were stuffed in cabinets with beach balls and swim shoes and things like that. I had, light bulbs that had burned out months ago. They were just in rooms that we barely ever used, so we just ignored it. Or, a broken doorknob on the back door going to the garage. And then just, things like scuff marks all over the hardwood stairs that we just ignored it. Eyeshadow, old mascara tubes, trowel-sized shampoo bottles from hotels that were just stuffed under the cabinet. In other words, I had become clutter blind. Not colorblind, clutter blind. Well, again, I did exactly what I did in 2002. I wrote the vision. I clearly mapped out what needed to be done in every single room in my house to make it excellent. And a lot of times we get so overwhelmed with where do you start when you feel like your whole house has just become a big clutter pile. Well, I started with one room at a time. And I stayed focused on that one room until it was purged, prepared, and perfected. Now, let me just say, it's amazing how we can get so blinded to clutter and just kind of adjusted to junk and things that used to irritate us, but as time goes by, we just ignore it, and in many cases, we don't even notice it anymore. Well, when you imagine your house being on the market to sell and you imagine potential buyers coming in and touring your house, it gives you an entirely new perspective about what needs to be cleaned up. So what I did was I devoted, just a little bit of time every day because I work all day. I couldn't just spend every single day purging the house. So I would just devote a little bit of time every day to this purge, prepare, and perfect directive. Little did I know, 3 months later, God would instruct me to not only put my house up for sale, which I had no intention of doing, but to also resign my position as the CEO, move to a new city, start this organization from scratch, and I had no plans of doing that. Again, without my knowledge, this attention to excellence was another preparation for promotion. In fact, once my home was in excellent condition, we sold it, we moved to another city, we launched this organization, and God has exceeded my expectations. The growth, the increase, the favor of God has been unprecedented. But here's the thing. I'm convinced that the purging, preparing, perfecting, the little things in my life were a prerequisite for what God wanted to do in my life. In fact, there's a scripture in 2 Timothy, and it says, "If a man therefore purge himself from these, he shall be a vessel unto honor, sanctified and meet for the master's use." Then it says, "prepared unto every good work." So this encourages us to be prepared by excelling, clearing out the clutter, getting things in order in our lives. In fact, Matthew 6:4 actually says, "Your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you in the open." What does that mean? That means every time you make the bed in the morning, knowing full well you're going to get back in it that evening, you're preparing for promotion. Every evening when you load that dishwasher before going to bed so that you wake up with a clean, orderly kitchen, you're preparing for promotion. Each time you hang your clothes up in the closet rather than leave them in the floor to pile up, you're preparing for promotion. And you might even think, this is ridiculous. I could care less about this stuff. Well, I felt the same way, but I can't stress enough that it's these little habits, it's these little personal standards that truly enable us to soar to new heights. See, God sees everything. He sees every time you pick up the piece of clothing that falls off the rack. He sees every time you put the toilet paper back on the roll when the rest of the family just stacks it on top of the old one. See, God is watching, and He's eagerly waiting to promote a person of excellence. But we have to tend to these little habits and make it just a part of our standard, our lifestyle, because God wants to promote you. And He's the one who said, when you're faithful in the little things, you'll be ruler over many things. Well, I want to share with you the 10 benefits of decluttering and getting organized. First of all, let me just say, I thought this was so amazing. This was U.S. News and World Report. They did a research and found that the average American spends 1 year of our lives looking for lost or misplaced items. A year of our lives. What could you do with an extra 365 days added to your life? I mean, think about what clutter is costing us. Think of the progress you could make with that extra year. You could write the book that God told you to write. You could launch the ministry or start that business. You could get that second degree or travel the world or volunteer at a safe house. Instead, we're searching for the remote control for a year of our lives. In fact, they said the average American home has 300,000 items in it. At the same time, 80% of what we have, we never use. So I want you to see how just a little bit of time wasted each day by having clutter and being disorganized, it can cause us to miss out on major opportunities that God wants to give us. Well, one of the benefits of getting things in order is you'll save money. Do you know that you'll save money because you won't be buying duplicates of stuff you already have, you just can't find it? Like AA batteries, glue, light bulbs, cleaning supplies, things that you already have, you just can't find it, so you go out and buy another one. Or, this is one of the shocking ones, that 23% of adults pay their bills late and incur late fees just because they can't find their bills. So see how you're going to save money just by getting organized and getting clutter-free? In fact, I can't wait to share with you the rest of these benefits because I believe you're going to see a wealth of benefits just by getting organization, establishing new standards of excellence in your life. So when we come back, I'll share with you more benefits to decluttering your life.
If you feel stuck or overwhelmed with the clutter around you, there is hope. With her passion for goals, success stories, and her practical teaching, Terri Savelle Foy shows you how to organize your life. In Declutter Your Way to Success, you will discover the practical and spiritual effects of clutter and what to do about it, including the connection between organization and success, how to overcome procrastination, the 7 habits of excellence, and much, much more. Plus, for a limited time, when you request the Declutter Your Way to Success book, we'll also send you the companion workbook. This practical resource will help you take action and get your home and life in order. So don't delay. Call toll-free 888-844-7933 or visit us online at terri.com to request your copy of Declutter Your Way to Success along with the companion workbook. Experience the peace and promotion that comes from a clutter-free home, mind, and life.
I'm so excited about our brand new resource, Declutter Your Way to Success. I had no idea that this was all preparation for what God wanted to do in my life. And I believe for you, you're going to discover that as you get order in your life, you get organized in your life, it's all part of the preparation for where God wants to take you. So we're talking about the benefits of getting organized. The benefits are huge. You're going to be amazed at the peace you're going to have in your life. In fact, the second benefit that I want to mention today is you can find things. You know, have you lost your car keys or your cell phone again? Do you know that they said on average, we are spending 6 minutes a day just looking for our car keys in the morning? Now, I read where the top 5 things that women search for are shoes, a child's toy, wallet, lipstick, and the remote control. Well, see, when you get your home decluttered, you're going to know exactly where things are and you won't be stressed out in the morning. The third benefit is you'll save time, obviously. You know, I mentioned earlier how they say we're wasting a year of our lives just searching for things. Well, they said the average American woman spends 55.2 minutes a day searching for misplaced items. Now think about that. That's an hour, almost 1 hour of your life is wasted due to disorganization. I thought this was pretty interesting, but it says IKEA reported women with shoe racks are 7 times more likely to be on time for work than women without shoe racks. They said, if your shoes always go in the closet on the rack, I know it's crazy, but you won't be running all over the house trying to find them. If your cell phone always goes in the same spot, your purse, your wallet, your magazines, then you're not wasting valuable time trying to hunt them down, right? So you'll save time. Number 4 is you can be more creative. Having an orderly, clean space, it allows your mind to relax and be more focused and productive. Because see, when you have all these nagging things on your mind that you've got to get cleaned up, it drains your energy and it steals your peace. Well, your mind is going to be sharp, your concentration is going to be focused because there's order all around you. So that's a huge benefit is you'll be more creative. In fact, I love this quote I've heard my dad say that he got from T.L. Osborne. T.L. Osborne used to say, tranquility produces creativity. Tranquility produces creativity. So that's just a benefit of having an orderly space. Number 5 is your life will be less stressed. Your life will be less stressed. How often has the stress in your life been related to a messy environment or a disorganized space? Now listen to some of these statistics. 90% of Americans say disorganization at home or work has a negative impact on their lives. 90%. 65% say clutter affects their state of mind. 53% say it reduces their motivation. In other words, you can get excited about going after some of the dreams and the goals that God's put in your heart, but then you're so overwhelmed by the condition of your home that it reduces your motivation. 40% of people say it leaves them feeling unhappy. So the thing is, it's peaceful when you know where things are. In fact, do you know scientific studies have actually linked clutter and disorganization to depression and anxiety? Isn't that amazing? Now listen to this. If this isn't enough motivation, organizing experts have even reported that once their clients got their houses cleaned up, they've lost weight, ended toxic relationships, left unhealthy jobs, and stopped bad habits once they got, the declutter out of their lives. Isn't that amazing? So, hey, this could be your weight loss plan. Get your house in order, right? Number 6, the 6th benefit is you'll sleep better. Isn't that amazing? Now, listen to this. They said that 1/3 of our lives is spent in the bedroom, which is more time spent in any other room in the house. Well, this room is designed for rest, relaxation, and sleep. Well, studies showed that clutter in the bedroom actually causes people to have more sleep disturbances. See, there's nothing more irritating or distracting than focusing your eyes on the last thing you see when you turn the lights off is all the disorder, all the disorganization. And it's the first thing you pierce in on when you awake the next day. But see, when your home is in order, you imagine, your floors are mopped or vacuumed, everything's in its place. You're not going to drift off to disorder or wake up with chaos. You're going to wake up with peace, that everything's in its right place. So you actually sleep better when your home is organized. Number 7 is you have more time and energy to go after your dreams and goals. You have more time and energy to go after your dreams and goals. Well, you may not even realize this, but when your home is dirty or disorganized, it's difficult to focus on the bigger tasks that you should be doing because you're just overwhelmed. But when everything's organized, your bills are paid, your laundry's done, your meals are planned, your papers are filed, what are you going to do with all this extra time? Go after your dreams and goals. In other words, you can start the workout plan. You can paint the room. You can take the cooking class. You can write the book. You could start reading a book every month. Start educating yourself even more. See, when you're not always feeling that pressure of needing to get that room cleaned up, then you can focus your time and energy on the bigger goals of life, not the maintenance of life. In other words, your mind is free to plan other things. So that's a benefit, is you can start going after your dreams and goals. Number 8, the 8th benefit is you'll be a great example for your family. Well, the thing is, your children, your family, they're watching, they're observing, they're learning from you every day, whether we realize it or not. And so showing our children how to keep things clutter-free and organized in a standard of excellence, it's going to prepare them for the rest of their lives. So I don't have time to go through all that. Number 9 is you'll build better relationships. Now, I thought this was kind of funny, but they actually did research. They interviewed 1,397 people, and they asked them, they said, how long would it take you to get your house ready for dinner guests? 65% said 4 hours or less. 11% said, I would never invite anyone inside. 10% said 8 hours. 7% said 24 hours, and 6% said 40 or more hours. Well, the thing is, it's embarrassing when unexpected guests show up and the house is messy and disorganized. Well, see, when that repeatedly happens, you tend to not invite anybody over. Well, let me just say, your house does not need to look like a museum. In fact, my house isn't always show ready at all times, but it needs to be calming and peaceful. So don't allow a messy home prevent you from spending time with people you love, right? And the 10th benefit is you'll have more confidence. You'll have more confidence. They actually did a report at UCLA, and they were talking about how clutter actually affects your mood, your self-esteem. They said women especially feel embarrassed, ashamed, and guilty with the presence of clutter. Well, see, the thing is, when you constantly have to apologize to somebody for the condition of your house or even your car, they jump in your car to go to lunch, at work. When you have to keep apologizing, it actually diminishes your self-esteem every time. So you're going to have more confidence just by getting your house in order. Confidence in your castle, right? So I want you to know how excited I am about this new resource, Declutter Your Way to Success. It comes with my brand new book and the workbook to kind of walk you through step by step. Because, a lot of times it can be overwhelming. Like, where do I start? How do I start? I have so much to do, I don't even know where to begin. Well, I'm going to walk you through step by step, and it is a wealth of benefits. And you're going to see that it doesn't have to be so overwhelming. In fact, you fight fear with a plan, right? When you have a plan, it's not so overwhelming. So this is based on the first directive I ever heard from the Lord as I began my journey in personal growth. Clean up and clean out. And I'm telling you, the results are amazing. This is a proven solution to prepare you for your big dreams. In fact, we saw where the average American's spending a year of their lives looking for lost items. Well, like I said before, what are you going to do when you have 365 days added to your life? You can start writing the book that maybe God told you to write, or, learning that language, or like I said before, losing weight, getting serious about your fitness goals. Whatever it is, you're going to gain so much freedom because you got organized. So I'm going to share with you the benefits to help you, but I thought this was actually kind of fun. You're going to learn how to turn clutter into cash. Do you know you could actually benefit from the possessions in your house? Things that are just taking up space that you don't even need. Like the piano from Aunt Peggy that nobody plays. In fact, it's turned into a bench for backpacks and coats laying across it. Hey, why not make some money on some of the clutter that's just taking up space in your home? So I'm going to share with you how to get started decluttering and organizing. And like I said, you're not going to be overwhelmed because you're going to have a plan and a vision for each room in the house. I'm going to show you which room to start in, where to start, where to place things. In fact, you're going to be amazed at how easy it is to declutter when you have a vision. Now, here's a little secret that I like to share, is that it all starts with a 20-minute plan. In other words, don't look at the 1 hour you don't have. Let's look at the 20 minutes you do have, and you're going to be amazed at how much you will accomplish in 20 minutes. And hey, 20 minutes of cleaning out the clutter times 30 days in a month, that's 10 hours of decluttering your house. You're going to see so much progress just in 20 minutes a day. So I'm going to show you 8 ways to profit from your possessions, to turn your clutter into cash. And like I said, I don't just show you, that tell you to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it. And I talk about, items you may have never thought of that you can actually make money on, like unused gift cards, electronics, books, CDs, DVDs, ink cartridges, musical instruments, like I said before. There are so many things laying around. In fact, eBay did this research. they said the average American family has at least $3,100 worth of stuff laying around that they don't even need. So I took the challenge myself, and do you know I raised over $5,000 with clutter just laying around my house. So I'm going to share with you creative organizing tips for every room in the house, which is actually kind of fun, things you may have never thought of. I mean, like creative, cool things like turning your paper towel holder into a bracelet rack. Stuff like that just makes it fun to take this challenge. So actually, one of the biggest requests I've ever gotten on Facebook and Instagram was, how do you plan your day? So I talk about how to plan your day so you succeed on purpose. And hey, if you're interested in getting the entire kit, this has the brand new book, the workbook. It has the entire audio book, so you can just push play as you start organizing. It also has a wall calendar. I even put the timer in there so you can just push the timer and get started for 20 minutes. And it has a flash drive in here with the ebook, the audiobook, the workbook, everything on there. So I'm going to share with you 7 habits of success. I believe it's going to prepare you for promotion. And remember this, what you do behind the scenes has more significance than what you do in front of people. So as you start decluttering, getting things in order, I believe it's all part of the preparation for where God wants to take you next. So remember, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So let's establish a lifestyle of excellence in private so God can use you in public. It's easy to order. Call the number on the screen and we'll send it to you immediately.
If you feel stuck or overwhelmed with the clutter around you, there is hope. With her passion for goals, success stories, and her practical teaching, Terri Savelle Foy shows you how to organize your life. In Declutter Your Way to Success, you will discover the practical and spiritual effects of clutter and what to do about it, including the connection between organization and success, how to overcome procrastination, the 7 habits of excellence, and much, much more. Plus, for a limited time, when you request the Declutter Your Way to Success book, we'll also send you the companion workbook. This practical resource will help you take action and get your home and life in order. So don't delay. Call toll-free 888-844-7933 or visit us online at terri.com to request your copy of Declutter Your Way to Success along with the companion workbook. Experience the peace and promotion that comes from a clutter-free home, mind, and life.
I'm so excited about my brand new book, Declutter Your Way to Success. You know, they say the way you do anything is the way you do everything. They say a cluttered environment is the sign of a cluttered mind. Well, I think it's equally interesting that the first directive I ever heard on my path to success was to get cleaned up, to declutter. I know, I wasn't impressed with it either, but it was instilling a standard of excellence in my life before I could expect excellence in my team. So I want you to learn how to declutter, to get your life organized, get your home organized, get your mind organized, because I believe this is all about preparation for the next level God has for you. You know, they say that what's next in your life is always connected to what's now. So let's get things cleaned up, decluttered, and prepare for promotion.